Welcome to the GoPROcast, where we invite business doers who are changing lives by sharing their stories, their strategies and tactics, and who bravely talk about their failures that actually led to their biggest successes. Now it's time to go pro with Jeremy Torres. We are excited today to have the co-founder and chief creative officer of Cikalofia, who helps women-led brands in FemTech and DTC transform their website into a platform that unlocks business opportunities. She also serves as branding UX consultant and professional peer in support of fellow female entrepreneurs through the #1 ranked private business incubator in the world, 1871 Chicago. Please welcome Ari Trezek to the GoPROcast.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hi, Ari. Thanks for showing up. How did I do with the name?
Well, hey, it is a hard last name, right? It's Polish last name. It took me 5 years to finally pronounce it correctly. So call me Ari K. That's perfectly
Ari K is fine. Trezek is what I heard on one of the shows, but you know how it is. I'm Taurus, and every teacher of mine in history of my schooling, which I can't believe because teachers are supposed to be smart ones, called me Torsic. Every teacher, every year, every class, Torsic. They must have all been dyslexic. So, so I empathize with you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for showing up today and being part of the show. We only ask one question, the same question of every guest, and that is just to tell us something good.
Yeah. Hey, I have something good, and I hope it will be, for everyone who's especially trying to find their voice, because it definitely relates to that. So hit it up, Jeremy.
Okay. So the message today is personal branding, right? That is really the basis, the crux of everything that you do and try to help people out with is the personal branding. And is that because personal branding is really what people buy is you.
Yeah.
Right? Not kind of what you do, who you help, but they need to know, identify, trust you. Is that kind of what we've always been taught? What made you kind of start this, and tell us a little bit about your background before you got into this specialty?
Yeah. Oh, man. I started off as a graphic designer. I grew up in Bali, Indonesia, not knowing what I wanted to do, to be honest with you, in high school, right? Don't we all?
Right.
But then I come across this world of advertising and design, and I got so fascinated by it. And I told to my parents, I want to be a designer. And, at that time, I was already approved for a 4 full-year scholarship at tourism school. And I had to say no to that because I wanted to be a designer.
Wow.
So it just feel like I finally felt like I want to go towards something. And when you feel like you have the vision and you have the urge that I need to go get that. Otherwise, you're not going to be. Yes, you're calling. You're not going to feel fulfilled, right?
Yes.
And the big thing that we have learned since pandemic is that everybody now really considering what do they want to do in life, right? Leaving the job that they used to hate so much and trying to pursue the one that they love. So I guess I was lucky that I was really trying to pursue that in early on. But, that's not to say that my journey was all rainbows and sunshine. I felt like, that was just the beginning. And when I start learning everything related to advertising, design, communication, I finally realized that there's this big power of branding that people tend to, underestimate.
Yep.
But for those who are already in the branding or the marketing industry, they know how to play it well. They know what kind of messaging to pull so that, audience like you and I can feel connected to it, right? So that's on the business branding. But on the personal branding, that's even more powerful because we work with people, right? We don't technically work with the enterprise. We work with the people behind the enterprise.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly. And just like you, Jeremy, you already built your own personal brand. And that's why people get to know you, hire you, and invite you to so many different, events and speak, right? And you utilize this as your equity for your personal brand. I didn't have that. I felt like I was just building brand for other, other companies, other businesses, and I wasn't realizing how important personal brand for myself.
Hmm.
I thought I didn't matter, to be
Wow.
honest with you.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you were like so busy doing for others, you didn't stop and start doing for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I guess what you could do though is understand when you started getting success with working with for others, it maybe gave you a little more confidence to brand yourself, because part of the things that I had to change over time was my confidence. Right, I
Yeah.
had zero confidence growing up and low self-esteem, and so building a brand for me with that headspace would not have worked at all. And so with you helping others, and when they were getting success, and you saw what we say here is success leaves clues, right? So you start working with folks, and they're happy with what you're doing, and they're growing in their business. How do you stop and examine yourself and try to come up with some sort of personal identity to share with others, the differencing abilities that you have that separates you from the competitors? Because everyone says they're brand maker, or especially personal branding now, but there are a few
Yeah.
good ones. What is it about yourself that you found is your secret sauce?
You know, that was really hard for me to figure out, right? And I
Mm.
think a lot of people probably in the first 2 years or few years in business and even in their career probably ask that themselves, like, what am I really good at? Like,
Yeah.
what is unique about me? Like everybody else in the marketplace, it seems like people are doing the same thing, and so do you. So what makes you truly unique? It is a question that I honestly hated so much. I just like, I don't want to answer that. I just don't want to answer that. And I think I'm finally realizing, last year when I finally just wanted to step up. And to kind of give you a backstory to this, is that for so long I felt like I just need to be behind the screen, right? I don't need to be
Mm.
up there or,
Like the great and
network.
powerful Oz.
Yes, exactly. Just stay, behind the screen. And I'll be fine. I'll just do the work. But then my mentor challenged me, Ari, I want you to be on a panel. Just
Mm.
pick 3 different panel and share what you know, and see how you like it, and see what the experience is gonna bring to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I was like, no, no thanks. But she's like, no, please try. Just try it.
Yes.
So
And
that was the beginning, Jeremy.
yeah, and did you get that rush the first time you were on a panel that, the hair stand up and it's action time, but what happens is you get tossed a softball and you answer it and you go, wow, I do know
Yeah.
something. I do have something to offer. I've got an
Yes.
opinion and a way of a perspective that I'm not hearing, and to share that. And especially for women, because you do tend to focus on female. What is the I don't know if it's acronym or initials is it DTC?
So DTC is direct to consumer, and
Oh,
I'm
okay,
primarily
direct
in
to consumer. I
FemTech.
probably should have known that. I know B2B and B2C and C2C and A to B and ABC, but DTC is direct to consumer. So FemTech,
Yeah.
what is FemTech? What is FemTech then? How does that correspond with direct to consumer then?
Yes. So FemTech is female health and wellness technology. So think of it any technology related to helping women better their lives. It could be anything related to their health directly, or their reproductive system, anything
Mm,
with their health and wellness. You're seeing a lot more in the
FemTech.
in the
Okay,
market right now.
I
So
love
that's
it.
called FemTech.
So you
Yes.
help women who are in the femtech space, and they work with direct to consumer. So it's not B2B, it's B to consumer, B2C or DTC. I understand that.
Yeah.
What is it about working with women in the femtech space? Is it that you like that you dig, and that's why you like being there?
Yeah. FemTech space is actually fairly new, right? It's only a couple years old. And the main reason why I'm mainly in it these days is because I'm a woman with also quite a lot of health issues.
Mm,
And I didn't even realize all of those until you finally experience it, right?
sure.
Starting from like fertility, all related to, issues with your body. I did not have all that knowledge growing up. And I felt like there is a big gap between women understanding their bodies, because
Mm,
it was something that not many people wanted to discuss or even talk about.
right.
And even in in the research, a lot of the time women are excluded because it wasn't found relevant, and they only use men as the base of
Wow.
the research. I was like, really?
That's
No
surprising.
wonder. I know. And it's just like, it was interesting to find out all the details around, healthcare for women. And I think the big movement around FemTech really helps like closing that gap for all of us, so that we can all now have a better understanding, not just, what's best for us, and also how to keep ourselves healthy with the family that we want to build.
Yeah. So I want to just kick this out there for the listeners. I got a little plaque up here that says to be sure to visit Ari or to get in touch with Ari is go to Ari at Cycalofia, which is, I want to spell this. Everyone pull your cars over, get your pencil and paper out. CHYKALOPHIA.com. Give me a high five. That was a tough one for someone like me with dyslexia. So Ari at CHYKALOPHIA. And I want to make sure to get that out there because I don't want people to wait until the end and then they drop off. They don't know how to get a hold of you, because I think a lot of my listeners can use what you're into, what you're selling in the FemTech space, and the direct-to-consumer personal brand building, especially since it's new. There's got to be ways to make headlines which say, you have a problem and you don't have an answer to it, and I have a result that you want. How do you work in that space with the women who you work with to get that message out? What is your process?
Yeah. The process around branding oftentimes can be very personal, right? Especially when you are the face of your business, you are the founder, and this business is your baby, essentially.
It is a baby. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They have a
Yes.
life cycle. Every business does.
Yes. And sometimes we wanted it to be like super perfect, but at the very beginning, you don't have to make it all
No.
perfect, right?
Perfect is the enemy of good.
Oh, yes, definitely. And, from what I have been seeing in the past 10 years in business, the most consistent, I'm not going to say mistake, but I think, overlook things that people are doing with their business is that they target everybody, right?
Yes. That's a good one. Hold on.
I made that mistake.
That is a lightning strike one. That is the number one mistake, is they cast the web too broadly. Or the net. They cast their net, and this is not good. That's just not the way you want to target. Targeting is better than that wide. Knowing who your target customer or client or prospect is.
Agreed. And I did that too, right?
So how do you teach them how to focus? That's the hard part.
The focusing is definitely the hard part. But when you realize, though, that you are meant for specific audience, right? The right audience, you'll start seeing the opportunities. You start seeing how you're different to others, especially when you start sharing your values. What is it that you stand for and things that you are against? People are leveraging brands as part of their identity now. So when they do follow you, they will truly follow you because they feel like they have connection to you.
Yes, absolutely. And then, so when you start putting that message out there, what do you think the word consistency is subjective? So how do you suggest to your clients to be consistent in what is the best ways to develop consistency? What is consistency when you're starting out? And what are the better platforms, I guess, depending on what, especially to consumers. I'm a LinkedIn guy, but I'm a business coach. So, of course, I live on LinkedIn. But if you're going direct to consumer, and I know it varies, but FemTech, where do you see the most success or the growth space right now on the messaging side?
Oh, yeah.
Regarding platform.
Personal stories, to be honest with you. I've interviewed a lot of different women, FemTech founders recently. And there's this one amazing FemTech founder. Her name is Francesca Tang. Her product is called a dripstick. Now, this is probably going to be too TMI for a lot of you.
I've been called a dipstick many times, but this is called a dripstick.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It's going to be TMI, okay? But just imagine that this is a product for women who have always been so tired to finally go to the bathroom after having sex and have to walk like a penguin because they have to clean something out of the things.
Yep.
And she invented that because it is her experience, right? It's her personal stories, and she felt like there's got to be something out there already for this, but there wasn't. So she
Yeah.
created that out of her own need.
So
And
talk about
that's,
a vulnerability.
yes. Oh, yes.
And having to know your market on that one. So it's an apparatus that afterwards they use to not have to go to the bathroom physically.
Yeah.
So you can feel like a guy. I guess the misogynistic response to that is, then who makes the guy the sandwich after? You know what? Hold on, I got to give you this one. There's talk about a long wait. There we go. Or that's more like it. Not funny at all. So yeah, but really, and for example of what I just did, kind of making fun and pointing out, yes, it's misogynistic, but that's me. That's my personality, is to find the humor in things. And then today people are so sensitive. Really, if she's the person that comes up with that kind of product, she's got to be aware that making it funny is a good way to get it across, because a lot of women and a lot of men too are, it's kind of embarrassing. It's a personal. And so injecting humor into that is a way to kind of remove some of the stigma and get people talking about it. Because when you're laughing, I think you feel connected.
Yes. And you know what? That's
Unless you're Will
exactly
Smith.
it. And you got it right, Jeremy, because she did use humor in her narrative, in her messaging, and even in her branding, right? The business brand, the business company name actually is called Awkward Essentials. So you can already get where this is going to go, right? It's going to be all things awkward.
And my wife would, not getting personal with her, but this kind of thing, we talk about this in our relationship. You know, we talk about this we make fun of things. I don't take very much serious. Even cancer and things like that. When my friends have it, and then I'd make them laugh. My gift is making people laugh. You know, I do a lot of suicide prevention, and I have certain friends who are suicidal, have suicidal ideology, and when they call me to talk about the ledge, my go-to is to make them laugh. And sometimes it's not the nicest humor, but it's my way, and that's why they connect with me and they respond to it. It's worked so far, luckily. But yeah, that is a good way to do it. Awkward. What is it? Awkward
Essentials.
Essentials. I love it. I'm looking it up. I'll tell you about that much when we're done here. And now my wife's birthday is coming up, and I never know what to get her.
It's a good one.
She'll love it. Oh, I like it a lot. Oh boy. So let's move on. I could talk about that all day. So how is it that what's the best way? Like who is your now perfect client? People, how should I tell people when I'm talking with people, if I hear certain things that they're working on, who is your perfect referral partner? Or something like that.
Yeah. So my perfect target audience, to be honest with you, are women who are in the FemTech space, currently building their first product or first service towards the audience, right? Most of the time, they will be building a product directly to consumers, but other times they also creating this either two-sided marketplace so that they can bring on either the vendors or even the actual buyers into the platform. In terms of ideal partners, we partner all the time with different agencies ranging from SEO agencies or even content marketing agencies.
Yes, marketing.
We collaborate a lot with all things related to marketing because we're so in the middle of the process, and I felt like those collaboration happens all the time.
Yeah, and so you have what about brand logos and stuff, logo partners like that? Do you handle the logo part of the personal branding, or is that something that you're also looking for a joint or venture or something like that with affiliate opportunities? Would be sort of logo designers who, when they go, you're a woman and you got FemTech here, product and services, and here it is. You know what? You need to speak to Ari. She could really help you with your message.
Yeah. We handle that in-house as well. So ranging on the brand strategy, UX strategy. So anything revolves on the digital space, whether it's your web application, your e-commerce site, design, and website. Yeah.
One-stop shop. I like it. Well, I tell you what, so we know how to get a hold of you now. And then the website, what is the best website for them to check out?
cklph.com.
CK?
CKLPH.com.
lph.com. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing that in the descriptions, cklph.com. And we'll get the word out, because I think this audience, I think I have a really great audience. I think they have a great sense of humor. I think that the FemTech space and people starting their own business, I think the national average is less than a year a company stays in business. So getting this personal branding point is critical in hitting that mark, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be talking more. I'd like to get you on my other show as well, because I think there's some stuff over there with your health issues that we could talk about. It's called the risk factor, and we talked about personal, emotional, and mental health issues that impact employees, leaders, and businesses. And so I would love to, if you would be open to talking about some of those issues and how that impacted your decision to work in this space, and how to help other people through that. You would be great for that too. And that's a live show. So
Happy to.
Take a risk too. Wonderful. We'll be in touch with that. Stay around. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience really quickly, and then I'll come back and say a proper goodbye to you. And I appreciate everybody who watches this show and listens to it. We are having a ball here. Ari is a perfect example of somebody who I never met before today. We come on, we chat like old friends. And the more people you do that for, the more things you learn. I learned about DTC today. It's just something else put in the tool bag. And I encourage every single one of you today to strike up a conversation with somebody who you don't know and ask them more questions than you answer. Listen with intensity, but also in purpose, but also with an empathetic ear. So when they say something, you can actually put your biases aside and pay attention. That the next question will develop from that. Don't think about the next question when you ask the first question, then you're missing out on the answer. So listen, not only actively, but empathetically. And as we say here all the time, ending these shows, please don't stop remembering to go pro. Thank you.